Tell me what it is that you're trying to say.
I failed to marry. You know the punishment for that.
I don't want to know.
I failed to marry.
I'm sorry.
Marry.
I shall never have children, a husband.
I'm sad that I won't be able to plan your wedding.
He never wrote to me. He never called me.
I saw that I had been an amusement for him.
And nothing since.
Nothing more.
There's no nothing happened.
Nothing since then.
He never wrote to me. He never called me.
Oh. Okay, I see. You think this has nothing to do with you.
You should be smart enough to know not to start something where nothing can come of it. You're only going to make a mess.
I should have slept with him. Maybe that would have made it easier.
He told me I was beautiful.
I'll tell you what it indicates to me.
But please, don't.
Bad conscience.
He told me I was beautiful.
Don't talk about the marriage.
But he could not understand why I was not married.
Married? Bad conscience. What's wrong with marriage, anyway?
I preferred to walk alone.
You ever regret not having a family?
They're not married.
No children. The baby thing will happen when it's the right time. No children.
It really is much easier than it sounds. I mean, marriage is not involved.
What's wrong with marriage, anyway?
I just think it's the right thing.
I just think.
You want me to marry him, don't you?
For who?
What do you mean? Who's it for?
Whose idea was this?
What are you asking? What are you trying to say?
He shouldn't have asked you to do this, honey, because he knows you. He knows this will never...
Is he neat?
No.
Is this an important question?
What does he pick up after himself? Does he make the bed in the morning? Does he ask before he uses the phone?
He's very clean.
Oh, that's very good.
What made you ask such a question?
Well, you can tell a lot about a man from those things.
Yeah. No, I mean... he's other things, too. He's,
I'm sorry. But he doesn't sound like he knows exactly what it is he's getting into.
What's wrong with marriage, anyway?
To love, to cherish,
People marry, it's not revolutionary.
to have and to hold,
There's some animals that mate for life.
until death shall part us.
I just think it's the right thing. I just think.
I'm never getting married again.
I don't think any woman should have to do that.
Everything else is wrong. I don't believe in marriage. Everything else is wrong.
Excuse me, but you'll have to explain the point.
Everything else is wrong.
Such a lie.
I don't see why I should have to make some sad and decorous marriage just to have a child.
All you therapists ever want is for us to get married and have babies. It's the closest you ever get to a cure.
But how can you live for just what you want? What about other people? What's wrong with marriage, anyway?
I don't know.
Well,
Mom and Dad were a disaster. Charlie and I were a disaster. Everybody.
except for you two.
Don't talk about the marriage.
How long have you and Harvey been married?
We were married a year before the baby. And then 7 years after that.
Yeah, I was married.
It's a wonderful marriage, isn't it?
I was very young. I was married to a disciple of my father.
It's a wonderful marriage, isn't it? I married him because he reminded me of my father.
Yeah, I was married. When I realized that I hate my father beyond all words to tell it.
Yes, at that point, of course, I didn't realize just what a shit my father was.
Why? Because he's not perfect? Because he's not the man you thought he was?
I married him because he reminded me of my father.
Another disappointment. Another letdown. Another father figure.
Well,
What has happened between you and your father?
well.
I've been so angry at him ever since you came home.
Yes, at that point, of course, I didn't realize just what a shit my father was.
Pretty soon he's all you'll have. He's gonna need you, you're gonna need each other. My God, you used to be so close. What? Two, you're so alike.
Well, now you listen to me because I'm only going to say this once and I probably shouldn't say it at all.
There's so many things that I can't.
There is nothing that you know about your father that I don't know.
You don't know.
Nothing. There is nothing that you know about your father that I don't know.
Ma! Please stop, okay?
Don't listen to her. She's getting senile.
I want to talk. You let me talk. Now let me talk. Your dad won't let me talk because he says I'll upset myself. And you won't let me talk. Oh, Mom, please don't talk.
I'm not interested in what you remember, so just shut up! But I would stop fucking talking if I ever heard anybody else say anything worth fucking stopping talking for!
I want to talk before I die.
Listen to me.
Listen to me. Is that possible?
You make concessions when you're married a long time.
Is that possible?
It is possible to... It is possible. Okay? Well, to love someone so much or to think that you want to love them so much that you just don't even see anything. Okay? You make concessions when you're married a long time, but you don't believe you'll make when you're beginning.
Well, it's not what I dreamed of as a girl.
It's not what I thought would happen to me. When you're young, you say, oh, I'll never tolerate this or that or the other thing. But time goes by, darling. And when you've slept together 1,000 nights and...
I find once you get to know them, you don't want to sleep with them anymore.
Well, you just make everything about sex. You realize that. The minute you get married, you start to drive each other crazy. When you've slept together 1,000 nights... It doesn't work. Marriage doesn't work.
What I say is when a woman makes a choice to marry and have children, a woman will never begin. You decide. And you decide. Trust me, you're in the day-to-dayness of the marriage and
Daily stuff, you know, schedules and parties and details.
you build a life of details and you just stop and stay steady so that you...
Daily stuff, you know, schedules and parties and details.
Oh, you keep house. That's terribly interesting.
Well, that's what he means by it. That is what he's saying.
Oh!
Your life is trivial. You are so trivial.
Oh! You know, just because someone decides to settle down and have a family doesn't mean they're hypnotized. Women professors, they say, oh, you keep house. That's terribly interesting. Doesn't mean I'm asleep in my life.
Daily stuff, you know, schedules and parties and details.
Oh! It's kind of like being in a washing machine, you know? You can just churn and churn and churn in there.
I made chicken stuffed with lemon.
It's kind of like being in a washing machine, you know? You can just churn and churn.